You know the feeling, right? We're all trying to swim in this information tsunami. Every single day there's a flood of emails, reports, and news. And then there's that pile of books on your nightstand, kind of staring at you, the ones you swear you're going to get to someday. Well, in this explainer, we're not just going to learn how to swim faster, we're going to learn how to surf.
Okay, check this out. Because this right here, this is the whole mystery in a nutshell. The average person speaks at about 150 words per minute. No big surprise there. But get this, the average person reads at about 160 words per minute. I mean, it's basically the same speed. That's not a coincidence, it's a cage. And it makes you wonder, why are we reading at the speed of our mouths and not our eyes?
So here's the core idea we're going to unpack. The problem isn't actually you, and it's not even the insane amount of information out there. The problem is the tools you were given. See, most of us were only ever taught one way to read. That's kind of like being handed a single screwdriver and being told, go on, build a house. You just can't. You need a whole toolbox.
And yeah, we all have those monuments, don't we? Piled high, silently judging us. But the goal here isn't just about plowing through them faster. It's much bigger than that. It's about changing our entire relationship with the written word. It's about finally building that full reading toolbox.
All right, so let's talk about that one slow screwdriver we've all been using our whole lives. It's time to name the villain, the one thing that's putting the brakes on your reading speed. And if you think back to that first chart, well, the culprit was hiding in plain sight the entire time.
It all comes down to this one thing: subvocalization. It's a fancy word for something you do constantly. It's that little voice in your head, the one that's probably reading these words to you right now. That's your internal speaker. And here's the crazy part. Your eyes can process information way faster. But we force them to wait for that slow, plodding voice to catch up, creating a totally artificial speed limit inside our own heads. And you know what? A lot of our other bad reading habits are just side effects of this one big bottleneck. You ever do that thing where you read a sentence and then you immediately jump back and read it again? That's called regression. And it usually happens because your mind just gets bored waiting for that inner voice to catch up. It's wild, but that one little habit can slash your effective reading speed by nearly a third.
So how do we fix this? Well, the secret is all about shifting which part of your brain is in the driver's seat. See, school taught us to read with our left brain, the analytical, logical part. The part that sees every single tree one by one. But the real key to speed? It's firing up our right brain, the holistic, intuitive side that can take in the entire forest at a glance.
And that brings us to the whole idea of building a reading toolbox. It's all about what we can call flexible reading. I mean, you wouldn't read a beautiful poem the same way you'd read a dense business report, would you? Of course not. The goal is to stop treating every text like a sacred scroll and start picking the right tool for the job.
Okay, tool number 1, pre-reading. Think of it as a quick 5-minute recon flight before you commit to the whole journey. First, define your purpose. Why are you even reading this thing? Are you looking for one specific fact or the overall argument? Next, browse. You're basically giving the text an X-ray. Look at headings, summaries, charts. Then you scan. This is like your radar, hunting for specific keywords, names, or numbers you need. And finally, you skim. Just read the first and last sentences of key paragraphs to get the author's general idea. This quick flight gives your brain a map, which can honestly save you an hour of being lost.
All right, now for our most advanced tool. And I've got to admit, this one is going to sound a little weird. It's a technique called photographic reading. And it's not really reading in the way you think of it. It's more like a direct data download to your subconscious mind.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But the logic here is actually pretty cool. It's all about bypassing your conscious mind's slow analytical filter and getting information sent directly to that fast, intuitive right brain we were just talking about.
So how do you do it? The core technique is called soft eyes. Instead of laser focusing on a single word, you relax your gaze and try to see both the left and right margins of the page at the same time. You're looking almost through the page, not at it. What this does is it activates cells in your peripheral vision, and those cells have a direct line to the faster, pattern-recognizing part of your brain. You see it, but you're not consciously reading it.
There's this brilliant analogy for this from the legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi. He described 2 ways of seeing. There's Ken, the analytical gaze. That's seeing the opponent's sword as it's swinging towards you. It's reactive. But then there's Kan, the intuitive gaze. That's when you sense the intention to swing before the muscle even moves. Photographic reading is like using Kan. You're absorbing the intention of the text, not just reacting to each word.
Okay, so you've pre-read the text, maybe you've even experimented with this new way of seeing it. You've gotten the data in. But now comes the most important part of all, activation. This is how you turn that passive input into active, usable knowledge. This is where you start a conversation.
Think about it. There are really two types of readers. You've got the passive reader who just lets the information wash over them like they're watching TV. But then you have the active reader. An active reader gets into a dialogue with the author. They question, they challenge, they connect ideas. They don't just receive the text, they wrestle with it.
So how do you talk back to a book? For starters, stop highlighting entire paragraphs. That's like highlighting nothing. Instead, just underline a few key trigger words that will jog your memory. Use the margins to argue, to ask questions, or draw a little light bulb symbol when an idea sparks. And here's a big one. After you finish a chapter, close the book and sketch a quick mind map of the main points from memory. That act right there anchors the information. It turns it from the author's idea into your knowledge.
So we've spent this entire time talking about getting faster, more efficient. But now we come to the final and maybe the most important lesson of all. The twist is that the ultimate reading skill isn't about speed at all. It's about knowing when to stop and hit the brakes.
The great novelist Gustave Flaubert reportedly spent 17 years writing and perfecting his masterpiece, Madame Bovary. And what did he do? He would read every single sentence aloud, over and over, just to make sure the rhythm and the sound of the words were absolutely perfect.
And that really brings us to the real takeaway. True reading mastery isn't a one-size-fits-all race to the finish line. It's about discernment. It's about having that full toolbox and knowing whether the text in front of you deserves the speed of a power drill or the slow, deliberate care of a master craftsman.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. As you look at that monument of unread books on your nightstand, the question isn't just, how quickly can I get through these? The better question is this: which one of them has earned the right to be read slowly, word by word?